Yes, sir.
All right, it was good to get that one underneath our belt. We got everybody in the game that was on the bench, and a lot of kids in the game that might not ever get into another one, but it's great for your morale of your team, your locker room, and all the guys that play quite a bit. We're really rooting for them, so that means a lot. But we were obviously the best team tonight. We executed. We had a few too many penalties early, but we're playing aggressive and mentally. We just got to keep making progress. Last week we made way too many mental mistakes and too many mental mistakes, but it was a good outing. We needed a game like that to be able to look at some guys that hadn't been able to play in the first two games, and we found out a little bit more about our kicking game, and we switched it around some. As you can tell today, we moved Rod more to corner. We're really hurting at the cornerback position because of losing Orr for probably 7-8 more weeks. He had surgery this week, and then we lost Drain in practice this week. Turned his ankle. He'll be back next week, but we're just trying to find somebody that got some speed, that got enough athletic ability to play corner. Rod Moore played corner before, and so we took him from the running back position and put him in corner. Questions?
Very efficient numbers for Brendan and Kay. What did you like most about the way he played?
Yeah, he took what they gave him. Early they played some zone and weren't going to let us throw the ball down the field, and all of a sudden, and then we got the running game going pretty good, and they manned up on us, and then we threw the ball deep. But he's got a lot of patience. Brandon knows the offense. He needed to get a start underneath his belt before we go to the rivalry for next week. So I think that was good to kind of let him know that, hey, he's the guy now, and we know how he can perform, but he's got to perform with this offense. This is a little bit different offense than he's played in the past, so it was good to see him have some success, and good to see our running game get going like it did. And if you rush for 300 yards, you ought to win a lot of games, but we know we're not going to do that every week. But our offensive line really looked good at times in the running game.
You got Denny Coney in the game too, which I know you wanted to do, and you made him hand off the whole first time he was in there. Was that just to get his feet wet? Yeah,
we just wanted to make sure that that his nerves didn't get to him. And I put him in there early, 21-0, when normally you leave, you start quarterback in there. But I told him, I said, listen, this thing's not over with. You've got to go in there and you've got to perform and put a little pressure on him. And we were going to be simple with him at first, and we started throwing the ball with him, kind of bring him along slowly. You got to remember, that's the first time he's ever stepped on the college football field with the lights on and people watching. So I thought he performed pretty good, and he's going to have to play some for us this year. And he knows the offense better. We kind of cut it down a little bit for him tonight, but as we go through the season, he's going to have to know it all.
That touchdown pass was pretty impressive. Just from, I don't know how much stock you put into it considering the competition, but the pass was right on the line.
Yeah, the thing he did is he threw our screen passes pretty well, which is probably harder to throw than a deep ball. When you throw screen passes, those are all catch it. When you got to throw the ball without getting your fingers on the laces, you just throw it however you get it in your hand. And those are a little bit harder, but he throws the ball better than anybody we have. He throws it better than Kay. Sometimes his accuracy is not there, and he doesn't have the confidence, but he's got a good arm. He can throw the ball, and I thought he did well for the first time he's ever played.
When you say, not to belabor this, even another question, when you say he throws the ball better, he just got a strong arm.
Yeah, he's got a strong arm. And he throws the ball in terms of watching the ball being thrown. I'm not saying that he's got to learn who to throw it to, number one. I'd rather have somebody that knows who to throw it to. But he's got the whole package, and what we need to work with when Benny is becoming a complete quarterback. But he's got an excellent arm. Coach Henshaw's worked on him on doing the touch passes, not knocking somebody down with the ball, whether 10 yards away or 30 yards away. And that's just a progress of a young quarterback's got to learn.
Can you describe a little bit what it was like in practice this week, coming off such a tough week, and you lose Munchie, you lose by a pretty good margin? After a big win, what was it like this past week?
It's hard. It was hard because they put it on the line. They played hard last week. We got beat by a team that played better than us, and we didn't play as well as we should have. It was just one of those games, and as we talked last week about it, it's over with. we've got to go back and practice because we're not good enough yet to beat real good football teams. We don't know this offense well enough for defense. We've got too many holes. We don't have enough depth with the injuries that we've gotten. So we had to go back and practice. Now we had 12 guys with heat exhaustion on Tuesday's practice. That was no different from practice than we had. It was just hot as heck. And but they pushed through it and made it. The next day they came out and went through practice, and it was almost just as hot, and we didn't lose our concentration. And those type of practices probably help your football team more than anything, knowing you have to fight through it and concentrate. So it was a hard week of practice. It was hard to take, going on the road and losing like that to a team we felt like that we had a good chance to beat, but we just we didn't play our best. So lesson learned, we bounced back, and now we've got to get better going into next week.
Going forward, how can Brennan Kay, when he's throwing the deep ball and connecting like he was tonight, help change things for you guys offensively, maybe how defenses approach you?
The biggest thing that'll change it for us is to get the running game going. I think the running game is going to help Brandon more. Brandon can throw the deep ball. He throws crossing routes well. He sets, I think his throwing motion is better than it was last year just because he sets his feet. And, he doesn't get in a hurry throwing it. But the thing that's going to help him more and more is that we can slow the pass rush down. When people bring 5, and we're only blocking with 5, then he's got to have a lot of confidence in the people in front of him. So our protection was better tonight. And he didn't throw the ball up for grabs. There was a couple times that he could have just chunked it down the field, but he tucked it and ran it. So he's learning. He's got a lot more to learn about playing quarterback in this type of offense, a pro-style offense where your running game's got to be number 1, and then your passing game will work off of that.
You're looking for some more contributions in the running game. What do you think of Jose tonight? How he kind of stepped up?
Jose's going to have to play well for us down the stretch. We've got one more game, and then we've got an open date, and it's kind of a battle between he and Tion right now for the number 2 spot. I pulled out Ralph earlier tonight because he's been beat up a little bit. He's probably ran the ball too much in these first 3 games. And next week, I'm going to limit how many times he can run it, and then we'll have an open date because 160 pounds and touching the ball 18, 20 times is a lot in this league. And so I want to get him as healthy as we can. But these 2 other running backs, Tion and Jose, are guys that can get it done. I start more with the mental aspect of pass protection. Both of them can run. Both of them know how to run the ball. They know how. Both have good vision, but they both lack a little bit in pass protection. And so I think the winner of that spot is going to be the guy that picks all the offense up and not just running the football.
Mikhail McKay.
Pardon?
Mikhail McKay with a nice touchdown catch, getting him up to speed finally, it seems like.
He's going to be a star receiver, and he doesn't know how talented he is. He's big. He's doing extra weights. We want to get him stronger. We want him to gain weight during this season, and because he just doesn't realize how tall he is and how big of a frame the guy is and how much he can push around a 5'8" and 5'9" cornerback. And he's not aggressive enough. And so we're doing a lot of things with him in practice to try to get the ball to him more and more. We had a few more things planned tonight, but we decided, hey, just hold up on him until next week because the score got out of hand too quick. But I tell you, he's a little bit of an intimidating factor on a cornerback that lines up trying to cover him because he doesn't look like he's running, but he can fly. He can really cover ground. His only problem is the 2 or 3 steps off the ball early, and that gets him a little bit of trouble when people press play man, but he's getting better at that. We put 2 guys on him in practice, and we make him try to get off press coverage, and he's learning to use his hands, learning to use his body.
There was this, high-powered passing team coming in. What did you guys do? You shut them down, obviously. How did your defense do it tonight?
We played a lot more man tonight. We didn't play near as much zone in the first half. When we got them, when you play man, you can leave another guy to stop the run. It forces them to throw the ball down the field. And a little bit nervous with the corners that we had in there, but we felt like we could hold up. You can't play a soft zone against a team like that because your linebackers have to leave the inside running game, and the running game's there. And if you bring them back inside, then they start throwing the bubble screens on you, which that offense is built on running one running play, which is a zone, and the bubble passes on the outside receivers. And we were good enough for the 4-man rush to hold up, and but still play some man coverage.